And how is your art going? I know that's your heart, man, is painting, and you're excellent. How you doing?
Thank you, Sherman. And it's great to be here. It's great to see you. And I'm doing extremely well. And a daily practice is painting, collaging, a social media project called Love Letters to Life that came about as a result of my sobriety and then some major health issues.
Well, let's run the numbers. How long have you been sober?
March 10th, 1981. So 42 years plus.
So, look, I'm not going to be cute. You were a teenager. Had to have been, yeah? I'm not being cute. Yeah.
27 years old.
Oh, gosh, okay.
And, first rehab for a year and a half at 17.
Yeah.
So you knew I was headed at an early age. Drugs got me into the first rehab. And then privileges to start drinking when I became a drug counselor. And that had to give up that drug counseling because the boozing became all important. And of course that led me back onto a few of those powder substances. So in 1981, truthfully, an angel, a social worker at a hospital, instead of letting me be in that hospital another time, said, Pamela, I think that you'll feel understood by the people in recovery. That was it. I went to a meeting and...
Where?
Westport, Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived in Westport, Connecticut, New York City for 10 years. Loved the community, the fellowship, thoroughly enjoyed my life there. And I had an opportunity to come out to Santa Fe, New Mexico in 1989. And in 1991, boom, I found myself for a year visit, which turned into, here we are, in 2023.
I'm about to say the land of entrapment.
Yep,
I couldn't have found New Mexico on a map, and here I am.
Yep, the same. So, but as an artist, it was a right fit. I felt as though my soul said, this is your place to live. And I love the fellowship in Santa Fe. And I still go back all the time to New York and Connecticut because family, friends, I have life there.
You know what a creative here told me when I first moved here? When I first moved here, I knocked out a couple of screenplays that I'd been procrastinating on for ages. And she said, Santa Fe sits down in a bowl of rocks and it focuses you and you're going to get stuff done that you never got done in Los Angeles or in your case, the East Coast. You agree?
100%.
Because I'm not real Santa Fe woo-woo, but
I'm not either. However, the East, being in New York City, I had a career in universities and career things. And I was young, and that was what you did. You worked in universities as an artist, had shows. I came to Santa Fe and the painting took off, and museum work and work helping others. Again, I had a counseling degree. I have a master's degree in counseling. So I could be of service in both a vocation and as advocation, just being of service. So I helped create programs for at-risk youth in the O'Keeffe Museum, for Girl Scouts of America throughout the United States that were focused on youth. Looking at the at-risk features were exactly what makes leaders. They're loud, they're busy doing their thing. You put that channel into leadership programs, mural projects. I did multiple mural projects.
Great.
And so my life here has been rich with a variety of ways of sharing my strength, hope, and experience.
How has no artist that I've interviewed on this show never mentioned Georgia O'Keeffe until this second? You worked at the O'Keeffe Museum? Is that what you just said?
That's what yes.
So you must, and she's a New York gal that ended up...
out here, and she is When I lived in the East, she was somebody I admired, and she inspired me. I went and saw major shows, museum shows in Washington, D.C. and in New York City. And I had nowhere on my landscape, future landscape, was the idea of, well, the O'Keeffe Museum didn't even exist. And I moved out here, and boom, a connection came, and I ended up being a program director for education.
Wow.
Yeah, major. And I still am inspired by O'Keeffe and this beautiful land and
the light. She was famous for the light. Yeah.
Everything in it.
All right. So confirm or dispute. Did a rich guy walk into the O'Keeffe a few years ago and say, "I want to buy that"? And I said, "Sir, that's not for sale." And he goes, "I'm going to write a number down on this piece of paper," and it was like tens of millions. Is that right?
Great story. I can't validate it.
Come on, say it's true. I'm going to go back and loop in. You're saying yes. We'll use AI to make you say yes. That's in all the news now. This AI stuff. This is really us yapping. Well, okay. We're friends. I've known you for 10 years, but I haven't seen you in a few years. Basically, might have said hi and bye. But I know you had a day that really nobody has. The one two you had. Talk about it.
Okay. All right. So I'm living in a loft. I'm having a great life, attending, great sobriety, great friends. And some health issues came up. I was in a hospital in 2018 for 11 days, and they did 12 biopsies, couldn't find anything with those biopsies. So let's fast forward, lots of doctor's appointments. January 14th, 2020, I'm sitting in an oncologist's office at Cancer Center, and he looks at me and he goes, "Pamela, you have 2 kinds of lymphoma, stage 4, in your bones, very serious, and we have to start treatment next week." And, that takes your breath away. So I left there. I went home. I called my sponsor. Now I'm 38 years sober or something, and she says, I cry. She says to me, "I want you to go to a meeting and look for a person who has a problem." I thought that was a lot. Yeah, but I did. I went out to Galisteo, actually, and there was a newcomer there, and he had to share a story. He was crying. I just talked to him. It was a great meeting for me. I came home. I was scratching my head. I said, "There's no way I'm going to do this treatment. It's going to take my life." Yeah, I was afraid. I wasn't looking at very good prognosis. At 10 o'clock that night, I opened my computer, and there's a letter. And that letter said, "Dear Pamela, my name is Tracy. We have 100% match on Ancestry.com. I believe you are my mother. I would like to be in touch with you. Please let me know one way or the other." So let's go back. I'm 15 years old, Catholic family, 1968. I get pregnant, Boyfriend, sex a couple times, boom, Catholic girl pregnant.
Yeah.
Shuffled off to home for unwed mothers. Beautiful baby girl is born, and in my case, fortunately placed in an incredible family. Fast forward 2020. I had searched for her for 30 years with no connect. And the day I was diagnosed with cancer, the same day, hours later. And I had done Ancestry.com 3 years earlier. So 3 years had passed since my DNA was floating out there in the media, out there in the land of DNA.
I really don't know how
they
connect each other in that way.
You spit on something and boom, and she spit on something, and it gets put into a base.
No.
Now she found me in December of 2019, but she waited because she was getting some counseling. It was Christmas. She was going to see her parents who were in their 80s. She just needed some time.
She was in her 40s, yeah? at this
She
time?
was 50.
Okay.
She chose January 14th. And that's a miracle. And when I saw that email, all the mother love of 50 years came up in me. And I said, I'm going to live. And Sherman, I've been living, I'm what the doctor calls that rare patient who will choose their own death date, because I've looked at prognoses that said 2 months, organs will stop, 6 months if this doesn't work out. And my daughter said to me 2 months later, when I told her I had cancer, I waited. We have a great relationship. We connected. I let her know about my recovery. My first phone call with her, I made amends. Not a big, lofty, blah, blah, blah. It was, I know that pain had to been caused by you being released for adoption in any way that I can be with you, help you in your timeline to unpack that emotional piece of your life. I am here. And my daughter said to me, you did exactly what every 15-year-old Catholic girl would do. You did the best thing. I have a great adoptive family.
Thank God.
And she said, I know that I found you on the day I found you because God wanted me to be here to help you. And those are her words. You know, my higher power wanted me to live, know my grandchildren. They're in their 20s. And we all get along. I go back to, they're in Connecticut. They lived 1 mile away from my sister.
Wow.
For 12 years. I mean, she stayed in Connecticut. Her family was in Connecticut. So I bring that experience to so many women and so many people in my life now. When I speak, when I go to the cancer center, I'm still being treated. I let them know miracles happen every day. Some days they're, Technicolor, let's make a movie miracle.
Yeah.
But my life on a daily basis is a miracle of being here today, talking to you, having a friend come over in an hour to help me reconfigure my studio. I still paint. I do my project, Love Letters to Life. Inspires many people across the whole United States, even in Europe. People tune in to Pamela Marcoya. I see my daughter on a daily basis. She's she loves Facebook. She likes social media. We're social media girls. Mm-hmm. And my family, my friends, I've got a blessed life, and I have a lot of life force. So that's why I'm still here.
Okay.
I know.
Okay, I got this. I really do have this. I heard an old timer many years ago. Huh? I think he was on dialysis. Pretty much daily.
Yeah.
He had to drive to a place in LA and hook up to a machine for hours, sitting in a chair. And he said this, and I never forgot this. He obviously was ebullient. He had a happy personality. He had a fun way about it. And he said, people in recovery make really good medical patients, and why wouldn't we? He goes, it's all one day at a time. We're all here to try to help others and to not grab what we can and complain. And that, I'm sure I'm mangling it, but that was the message. And I've always tried to remember that and model that and be comforted by the fact that it's already true, that we're good at this shit. Adversity is kind of, we're built for it. Yeah.
Everything the prior, let's say 38 years of my sobriety, everything that I learned, that I was given as gifts and blessings in my life, showed up at the table when I showed up at the cancer center. And I am that person who sits 6 hours, with a machine. Fortunately, only once a month now. Right now, I'm on some medication, oral, as I speak. And I can do this a day at a time. I have a joyful spirit. My spirit, no, it plays in that field. And on those dark days, I know everything to do. Everything.
What?
That prayer and meditation in the morning. I wake up, if I'm like under a cloud, I go, hey, there's a sun beyond that. Prayer and meditation. I have a crowd. I have a posse of people that I connect to. I call people and don't say I'm in a cloud. Well, what's up with you? I reach out to others. I do that. I go to meetings. I may have 42 and a half years of sobriety. I go to meetings 5-6 times a week, couple on Zoom. All a Zoom. Thank God for Zoom during the pandemic. I'm grateful it's still happening as we speak. But I am attending some in-person meetings now, and I keep it green and I keep it lively. I look for the joy, and the joy is essentially always present, even underneath it. Darkness, get to the light. There's some in there. There is some in there. It's what we breathe, my breath. I do breathing that helps in the morning. Actually, right, breathe. I am a channel of love, light, and creativity. I see those words and go, well, walk the talk, girlfriend.
Do you think about the future?
I think about some near future possibilities, but I live my life a day at a time, hour at a time. Near future possibilities, yes. And when you just find out, I became a mother and a grandmother in like one phone call. So I have things with them. My mother's 93, visit her. She's in Connecticut. She met my daughter. That was her first grandchild. Big fireworks.
This is incredible.
My mother made amends to me last April on Easter. Made amends to me. She said, I know, I wish I could have kept Tracy in our family. I know that was a very difficult time for you to give her up. Yeah. And it was. I started immediate drugs, intravenous drugs to dull the pain. However, my mother at 93, no program. We're not talking Alan-on here. We're talking lady with a spunky, spirit. Turned to me and Tracy. Yep. Tracy was with me and my daughter. She made amends to us. Boom.
Okay, your mom, who's around and still got her marbles by all accounts,
yes,
was born in the 1920s.
Yes.
1930. This thing that you went through with giving up your daughter happened in the 1960s.
Yes.
And here it is, 2023. This covers a lot of freaking ground.
Yes.
This is a sprawling saga, and all the players are here.
All the players.
Your grandkids, your daughter, your mom.
My dad didn't get to meet Tracy. He died in 2014.
Okay.
Bless him, but he's around in spirit. Okay. Her father, who was in recovery 25 years, think of that. Her father.
Say that again.
Tracy's father, my boyfriend, from when I was 15.
Okay.
He did get to recovery. He was an addict, drunk, alcoholic.
Yeah.
We made amends in our 30s. He was in my life until my 40s. Unfortunately, he died. So she didn't get a chance to meet him. But all the players are there, and we're all in each other's lives. And Tracy has larger family. Tracy's family, she didn't have brothers and sisters. So her family expanded enormously by meeting me.
I'm a theater baby, and this sounds like an MGM musical where you're under a little pin spot in front of a closed curtain, and the curtain parts, and the Emerald City's behind you with all these millions of people and millions of things happening.
It's interesting you said the Emerald City, because recently on my Love Letters to Life, I grabbed a picture of Dorothy's ruby slippers with the Emerald City. She was looking out, and I talked about, this incredible ruby shoes that take you on a journey that one could never imagine. And that's why I keep showing up a day at a time. It is an incredible, incredible life.
How many times did you hear this tired old chestnut in meetings to not give up 5 minutes before
the miracle?
God almighty.
And it happens over and over and over, because I even thought of that on January 14th, 2020. I said, I left the doctor's office, a cancer center, and said, well, the jig's up. I'm going out I live in the desert. I'm going to lay down next to a cactus and shrivel up. One email later, miracle, 11th hour, my life. And I'm a miracle. And I love talking with you, Sherman. Thank you.
There's no way we're topping this. I'm going to run the music and wow.